Finance Committee meeting to order. Everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Approved council claims in the amount of $1,029,000 or $29,747.62.
This includes 2 payrolls with the annual HRA contribution, the final boat payment for the fire, and the Jeep buyout.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Renew contract with Maelstrom Inspections LLC. David?
Hi, good evening. I think I might have had some technical difficulties. You may not have the complete contract in front of you.
Saw that.
It's in our,
It's in the
council.
council packet.
So,
Really, I gave you the important sheet there. That's where all the changes are being made. Just a few fee increases.
you
And
need
the-
to update the city administrator.
Yes, I will get that updated yep, I see that now. Sorry about that. We will get that updated to reflect Aaron. Any questions on renewing this contract?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Job description revisions for building inspector and assistant building inspector.
So this is simply just an update to keep up to date with the position descriptions, and really just to reflect that Rhett, our assistant building inspector, primarily does the residential inspections, and then myself, I'm primarily doing the kind of department management and then the commercial inspections.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Approved filling of vacant patrol officer position. Chief?
Evening. So we have one of our officers is leaving to go into the private sector, taking a job closer to family with his new family down in Texas. So we'll have that position become available, and I'm just looking to get approval so that we can move forward with the process of backgrounds and psychologicals and things like that.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any discussion?
You have your list made out? Or-
Yeah, we have a list that's good for another probably 8 months or so.
Okay.
Do you have enough in your budget to start the person earlier than May 3rd so that they can get a head start and?
There wouldn't be enough in the budget, right? But
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not going to be a huge impact because he's at the top of the pay scale, and the new guy coming in will be at the bottom of the pay scale, probably.
Okay.
So I guess it's something I could talk to Aaron about.
How many are in the queue right now?
I'm sorry?
How many are in the queue right now?
In the queue?
Yeah.
The list.
There are 3 currently in field training, and other than that, you mean on the list?
On your list, yeah.
We have a list of 13, and I believe we're down probably about halfway through there. There's 6 or 7 left after that.
All right.
Better than has been, right?
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate here.
Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action to approve the purchase of 2022 single-axle truck from Nuss Truck Group, Inc. in the amount of $112,244.
Good evening, everyone. Yep. So this is a continuation. I was at Finance and Common Council a couple meetings ago asking for permission to go out for bid for a truck that we don't have any money for right at this time because the piece of truck equipment is 2 years out. And so we had a bid opening, and we opened up the bids. Well, one bid for the stated amount. Just for reference, I put in there that we purchased the same type of unit back in 2020 for approximately $105,000, so about a 6% increase over that bid. Seeing that we only got the one bid, and it is from a company that we've purchased from before. A majority, all but one of our fleet is a Mack truck, which is very helpful when it comes to parts, so on and so forth. So feel very comfortable with this bid and would recommend approval. Any questions?
And you're coming early just because the 2-year wait.
Correct. So basically what we would do is we would order the truck. Its payment is due upon delivery, and it wouldn't be delivered until 2023.
Okay.
And you
So-
don't have to put a deposit down?
Don't have to put a deposit down. Nope, haven't had to do it in the past. Yeah. So we will sign a contract, obviously, and then just so that finance knows is this item and the next item, we would just need to include that in the CIP when we put that together this fall.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion possible action to approve the purchase of a single axle dump box and plow accessories from Universal Truck EQ in the amount of $142,878.
Yep, just continuation. Had a bid opening, separate bid opening for the dump box and accessories. Only one bid from Universal Truck. It's the same company that we've had outfit our trucks for the previous, 10 to 12 years. So very, very reputable company. Very happy with their product. Again, just would need to add it in to the CIP. So basically, we would order the truck. That would be a year out. We would send it down to Universal. It'd be a year for them to outfit it. So we wouldn't see the truck until 2024, probably, January, February, March 2024.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Discussion?
So, all right, it says if the truck chassis is delayed past December 31st, 2022,
Yep.
the equipment cost would need to be reevaluated for possible surcharges.
Yep.
What does that mean then?
Yep, so we have been in contact. We're aware of that stipulation from Universal. And basically what they're saying is they want to have somewhat of a guarantee that the truck is going to be there by that listed date. Just because of cost of goods, they don't know, they want to be able to hold a price. And it's really tough to bid projects just because the equipment is so far out and the prices fluctuate weekly now, right? So we've been in contact with Mack, and we do have reassurance that there has been a truck that has been earmarked for us that is going to be on the line soon. And they said that we would get it delivered kind of that December, early January, and that Universal would carry that price for us.
Okay.
So, yep, we're very aware of that, and we have been in contact with Mack to make sure that the truck gets here in time.
Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action to approve bids totaling $1,336,222 to repair the damage received from the September 17, 2021 windstorm.
Yeah, so David and I went over to Market & Johnson on February 16th. They held a bid opening for all of the work categories for the repair of the 2017 storm damage. The bids came in at the stated amount, $1.3 million and change. The estimate, or the budget, was $1.4 million, so we're under budget. The insurance company has had an opportunity to review all of the bids that came in, and they are good to go. They gave us the green light, so wanted to bring it forward to finance tonight to get your approval, go to council, and then we can get started on getting contracts signed up and get this project rolling and get everything repaired. So,
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action to approve the bid from Yale Mechanical in the amount of $133,936 to replace the 700 First Street chiller.
so this is the chiller for the library police department. It was in the 2021 CIP for $120,000. Held a bid opening this last week. Low bid was Yale Mechanical in the stated amount, $103,936. David and I did review all of the submitted bids and looked at the specifications, and they met all the specifications, so we're recommending approval. The remaining $13,000 $936, speaking with Aaron, would come from cost savings from the City Hall remodel project. So staff is recommending approval at this time.
We really don't have a choice at this point, do we? I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion possible action on approving 2022 street maintenance project plans and specifications and authorizing staff to send project out to bid.
Good evening, Finance Committee.
Hey, Dean.
Excuse me. So this year's street maintenance project, we've put together the plans and specifications for it. So we're looking to crack fill a number of streets in the Carmichael Ridge development, Stage Line Road, in the place that we repaved it a couple years ago. And then crack filling, chip sealing, fog sealing on portions of Cooley Road, Grandview Drive, Ash Drive, Bear Road, O'Keefe Road, and Industrial Street. And then also restriping a Stage Line Road from the roundabout eastward to Old Highway 35. If we have any money left over, kind of added a list of some areas that we'd be looking to restripe with that additional funding just to close out our funding for this year. So if there's any questions about the plans or specifications, you can ask them now. Otherwise, looking for approval and authorization to send out to bid.
I'll just say 2 words, Green Street, and I know that this isn't part of this.
Different maintenance
Just want to make
activity.
sure that's
Yep.
still in your head and remain in focus. I don't have green on tonight, but you kind of do. So I know you're thinking about it. I'll move to approve.
Got a motion and second to approve, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Discussion possible action on the use of ARPA funding. Thanks, Dean.
All right, I've allowed the Finance Committee roughly 90 seconds to discuss the allocation of roughly 1.5 million in ARPA funding. We knew we weren't going to have a huge discussion today. Mostly, we just wanted to get it in front of Finance and start the conversation. We have a list of potential uses that staff put together. We initially had a much broader list that was a lot more unusual because we had some really specific uses that we can only have in the initial guidance. So we had to try to get really creative to figure out how to use the money. We've obviously since then had the guidance updated where we can really use all the funds that we've been allocated for any governmental use, which basically the definition is if we've spent money on it before, we can do it again. So it does make life a lot easier for us. It also opens up to the council for a lot more discretion on how you want to use it. So we provided you with some of the main things that we think would be important, mostly focusing on public safety. Obviously with COVID and some of those other things that we realized our IT needs were a little lacking in certain areas. So we wanted to try to address some of those, and then we did have kind of a community-based project. We thought that might be a nice use for it. I think what staff's looking for maybe tonight mostly is just if anybody has some specific ideas right now. Otherwise, if you want to think about it, we'll bring it back obviously next meeting. After that, our plan would be to roll it to council for the full discussion before we finalize anything. We won't have all the funds until about summer this year, May-ish, summer, July. Was that what it was, July? So we won't have actually all the funds till mid-July anyways, but we do have half the funds now, so if we identify any priority things we just know we want to do, we can go ahead and get them done right away. If we have the fund, that half the funds would cover it. So that's just kind of where we are. Again, this list is not something that we have to do. It's just the staff kind of throwing some things out there for the council and the finance committee to consider. But we want, obviously, it's up to the ultimately finance and council to decide how to use it and where to allocate all these funds to. The only thing that staff would stress is these are one-time monies that we should be using for one-time expenditures, and we also should not be using them for anything to replace something that we're currently levying for, because if we do that, it's going to negatively affect our levy limits. So you want to look at things that we would generally fund that either we don't have budgeted for or that we usually fund out of capital bonding, things like that.
Would it be,
What's that?
go ahead.
Okay, so the EMS CAD system, I was thinking that maybe that should be, we should be talking about that in our closed session this evening, because that would be something that the EMS funds could pay for, and it benefits all of our partners as well, so I think that might be a good use of those funds. The other thing that I want to bring up is the splash pad. The Y is interested in partnering with the city on a splash pad, and they were going to be bringing that to the park board sometime soon. And It would be a much lower cost to be able to do a splash pad next to the Y, because a lot of the infrastructure is available there for purifying the water and warming the water, because they would be able to use the same infrastructure that the pool uses. So this might be a way of saving some money on that splash pad. So I think that before we make any final decisions, we should make sure that we're working with the Y on that.
Joyce, I had a quick conversation with Mike about the splash pad. I think it's a great project, but it depends on how we build it, if you want to come and address it. I asked him about the annual operation of it, and what kind of salination we're going to use, and that kind of thing, and it's very skeletal kind of
Yes.
as a splash pad at this point. So if it was to go to the Y, are they looking at upgrading it further than what we have? Good, if you want to.
Yeah, obviously, we would be open to having those conversations with the YMCA and see what that would look like. The one thing is we want to make it available for the citizens, not, that type of thing.
No, it would be open to all.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
because, Chris Koss suggested that I visit one of the splash pads that's associated with a Y, so we went to, I don't know where it was, Forest Lake or something like that. Anyway, and, you have to enter through the Y, but it's open to the public.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's two types of systems. Obviously, doing a little bit of research on this, knowing it was going to be discussed tonight. There's the recirculating system, which sounds like the YMCA would do, and where it's you have chemicals, pumps, water's heated, or you have a freshwater system where basically it's button activated water. It comes from our system.
Yep.
It's not heated. It's not treated, but it's not recirculated. So it goes in a drain. And it goes to like a stormwater pond or just evaporation, or sheds off into the green space around it. So depending upon which system we go towards, the fresh water is a little cheaper, recirculating is more expensive, but if we're tapping into the YMCA's resources, it might be a good opportunity there to make something really, really big and really nice for the community. But
We could spend more money on that would
Amenities
allow us
and-
to,
yeah.
the amenities, yes, you could have a bigger splash pad or
Yeah.
nicer equipment on it.
So something to consider.
Could you explain the infrastructure? What would be common? What do they have that?
So, because they've already got all of the infrastructure for the pool with the water
and
heaters and the
yep,
pumps
chlorinization.
and the recirculation and things like that,
So they're going to run it through the pool outside?
No,
they wouldn't run it through the pool, but
it
they would.
can't. It has to have its separate
Right.
system. Being in the hotel business, that you have to have separate units. So
I'm not understanding the commonality of the infrastructure.
it can't combine. It has to have its own.
Well, that's not my understanding, so I'm not doubting you, that's not my
I don't know
understanding.
because of what a splash pad does, but
Yeah.
every unit I have at one of my hotels has a different pump, heater, and salination, its own
Okay,
for each
Yeah.
pool.
That way there's
kiddie
not
pool,
cross-contamination if
whirlpool.
something happens, yeah.
well, what about River Falls? No, they've got, their splash pad is right next to their pool, how do they
Yeah.
do things, do you know?
I don't know by offhand, yeah. I mean, these are conversations that we'll obviously
Yeah.
have to have over the next couple of weeks.
No, and I
Pin something down.
certainly, I think it's obviously worthy of a conversation. Keep in mind also that splash pad was originally proposed up at White Camp Park when the Universal Park was created up there, and that was one of the reasons why we wanted to do the splash pad there, was because it was adjoining or part of the Universal Park. And I would think that we would need to have that as a consideration as well, if it's going to be at the Y, that we should have some type of universal structure over there that would complement the splash pad. Also, at the time, we had partnered with the Hospital Foundation in order to get the Universal Park up there, and again, that was part of the original plan. And I would think that we should be talking with the Hospital Foundation as well to see.
I've already talked to Tessa about that, yes,
And
and
what'd she say?
they're interested in partnering.
Okay, okay.
So more conversation.
Lots of conversations.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that we would be able to, we're getting half the funds in July.
So we have half the funds already last year.
Right.
So we'll get the other half this July. So we have, basically about 700 and some thousand already received.
I mean, taking a look at, the public safety pieces, the IT pieces, I mean, I feel like that's stuff that I would be comfortable going with sooner rather than later.
I was just going to suggest, Bill, with the backlog on supply chains, why don't we just approve public safety? And there's more conversation had about the CAD system I can tell you about, Joyce, but go ahead.
No. And then we can save the conversation about the splash pad a little bit. Did Chris give any kind of inkling as to when he's going to approach Park Board?
He was supposed to be calling Pat Casanova recently.
So soon?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought he was going to try and be at the March meeting, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything updated.
So we contacted him after our agenda was posted, so he'll be on the April meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
As far as the CAD system, Aaron, that is not the hard number. It's probably less,
Yep, I
correct?
would think it's probably actually gonna be about 70,000. But we wanted to just make sure we had enough in there in case something came up, as it always seems to.
Yeah. And we have had conversations with Ken Witt and the administration, and he has, I'm not going to speak for him, but he has no issues. Maybe you can explain it better.
Yeah, we've talked to Ken about it as well. Basically, the agreement that we have with the county is that if the city's willing to do that upfront cost to get the system in place, the county will then budget for its operations every year.
Yeah, I know, I'm aware of that. I'm just saying that instead of taking this out of the ARPA funds, why aren't we taking it out of the EMS funds?
Yep, we can talk about that tonight in closed session, for sure.
But what I'd like to see is an approval for most, if not all, of the public safety tonight, because we can always get those funds and put it back in there from the partners, if that's,
I think what you're saying is let's get the ball rolling sooner rather than
Yeah,
later. If the
because-
funds are there,
Yeah,
we can
it's-
always figure out where it's coming from after the fact.
So I guess what I would say is if the recommendation from finance is to approve the public safety portion of the funding, I'd have you make that motion. We'll put it, it's not on the agenda for tonight's council. We'll have to put it on the next agenda. But we can at least at the next council meeting then lock in, we're going to get the public safety things purchased and done if the council approves. And then we can discuss the remainder of the dollars and ideas as we move forward.
What about the IT as well?
To me, I see the public safety as the most important
Yeah,
piece.
I do too.
And I don't see the need to rush the IT side. We
Okay.
can work on that.
No,
Brian, sorry.
Okay.
So I think that would be my recommendation, so it doesn't feel like we're asking too much of the council immediately, is if you want to make the recommendation for the public safety funding, we'll have that in the next agenda, council agenda for approval, but the finance committee then can still discuss next meeting, the overall use, including the splash pad and the IT, and plus whatever other ideas you got for the rest.
Okay.
I would,
The other thing I was going to say is that if we get this CAD system, then we should update the contract with Lakeview EMS, because the response time information would be changed.
John's intricately involved with this whole
Yeah, I know.
conversation. Yeah,
I'm just,
so he's aware of that,
Yeah.
though.
Yep, we're actually
but I want to be
working
on
with
record
them.
on this.
We're actually working with them right now on that agreement update, because if you remember last meeting, we changed the oversight committee requirement from
Right.
quarterly to semi-annually. So we're already working on an update, so adding something new shouldn't be too big of an issue, since we're already drawing up the updated
Yeah.
agreement for approval, so.
Okay.
I'll move, we recommend public safety off the ARPA funds be funded now and move that on to full council.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. I don't have anything. Anybody?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. We stand adjourned. We'll take a couple minutes before we start the council meeting.